From the land to the sea, Palestine will protect.
Gaza, your cries are loud and clear. Through the struggle we are.
ولو أرادوا الخروج لأعدوا له عدة ولكن كره الله انبعاثهم فثبطهم وقيل اقعدوا مع القاعدين.
Men, women and children live in constant fire. When their homes have been destroyed or when they mind their lives. The stories of Gaza are heartbreaking and yet they are too often ignored.
Free, free, free Palestine from the river to the sea.
In Gaza's night, the stars don't shine. Their hopes are dimmed by endless time. A world in pain, their cries ignored. It's time to act, to end this war. Lift them up, let their voices be heard. Stand for peace in every word. End the pain, let love take flight. For Gaza's dawn, we'll fight the night. The children dream of skies so blue, a life of peace, a world that's true. We'll take a stand, we'll make it right. For Gaza's hope, we'll shine the light. Lift them up, let their voices be heard. Stand for peace in every word. End the pain, let love take flight. For Gaza's dawn, we'll fight the night. Children dream of skies so blue, a life of peace, a world that's true. We'll take a stand, we'll make it right. For Gaza's hope, we'll shine the light. Lift them up, let their voices be heard. Stand for peace in every word. End the pain, let love take flight. For Gaza's dawn, we'll fight the night. Together we rise, hand in hand, we'll bring peace to the land. Gaza, your cries are loud and clear. Through the struggle we are near. Your strength remains, your hope will rise. A brighter future in your skies. Gaza, we stand with you. Through the pain we'll see you through. Raise your voice, the world must know. Together we'll make freedom grow. Gaza, we stand with you. Through the pain we'll see you through.
Today I'm going to speak about the greatest city in the world, the resource of dignity, the resource of patience, the city that taught us how the real faith should be. I'm going to speak about Gaza. Gaza, which has been abandoned by the whole world. We kept on asking, why don't these complicit Arab leaders move their armies and defend Gaza? Then I found the answer in the Quran. Allah says, ولو أرادوا الخروج لأعدوا له عدة ولكن كره الله انبعاثهم فثبطهم وقيل اقعدوا مع القاعدين. If they want to mobilize, if they want to move, they would have prepared for it. They would have made preparation for it. But Allah hated their participation. And Allah will help them back and say, stay complicit with the others. We've forgotten. It's not they don't want to move. It's Allah who helped them back because He doesn't want to honor them with mobilization.
Let's imagine a child growing up in a place where safety is uncertain, where sounds of sirens and explosions is a part of daily life. For many children in Gaza, this is their reality. A life shaped by conflict, but also a deep will to survive. Gaza is often seen in the media through a political lens, but behind every headline are real people, mothers, fathers, children who dream of peace and security. They are under difficult conditions, yet they continue to stand strong on the face of adversity. At the heart of this struggle is the human story. It's not about politics and borders. It's about people who want the same thing we do, safety and the chance to live without fear.
Accidents Today, we must confront the heartbreaking reality of the situation in Gaza. We are witnessing a humanitarian crisis in which innocent Palestinians are enduring unimaginable suffering. Our brothers and sisters in Palestine are suffering the worst genocide in history as their homes, schools, and hospitals are being destroyed. The images we see of children sleeping in rubble, families mourning their loved ones are not just headlines, they are a call to our conscience. Each of these tragic narratives is not just a statistic. They represent lives being cruelly ended, dreams being shattered, and futures being extinguished. This is not merely a disproportionate response as the West likes to describe it. It's a war crime that not only has left Gaza a place beyond repair, but also a place that symbolizes heroism, resilience, and freedom. These brave individuals sacrifice their lives daily, fighting for the freedom of their occupied homeland. They embody resilience and courage, refusing to be defeated amid the outrageous silence of the international community that has turned a blind eye to their plight. Even within the Arab world, there has been a troubling silence that undermines the urgency of their struggle. Despite this silence, the spirit of the Palestinian people remains unbroken. They continue to stand firm against the oppression, driven by a hope of a free Palestine. We must raise our voices. We must demand accountability for the crimes that are taking place. Palestine must be free and will be free, not only for the sake of its people, but also for the sake of the humanity. We can't remain silent while innocent lives are being lost. We must stand in solidarity with Gaza and support the quest for justice and peace.
Isn't it painful to be in your own home and have stranger come to claim that this home is his and not yours? This is exactly what happened to the Palestinian people. In 1948, the suffering caused by the Israeli occupation began, witnessed by the world. Despite the resistance from the Palestinians, the occupation has continued to expand to this day. Gaza is bleeding and the number of murders is increasing, and one of the main factors behind this tragedy is the disappointing attitude the world has shown towards Gaza.
A wise man once said, the road to justice starts by giving every human being his or her basic human rights. A document signed by 192 countries and translated into 500 languages. It clearly states that no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. And of course, you know what's happening in Gaza right now. We all hear the warnings, and this is not a drill, this is not a test, but this is the reality of Gaza. Water, food, medicine, and electricity have been cut off from 2 million people in Gaza. People in Palestine and Palestinians have been fighting for their lives and their homeland that has been stolen from them since 1948. In the end, my message to the world, either Gaza lives as the rest of the world, or the whole world must live as Gaza does. This is a massacre, not a conflict, but we have to remember one thing. How can four people be defeated if they believe that? If Allah is with them, who can be against them? Free Palestine.
50 generations have walked the land of Palestine. But its story is not one of defeat. It's the story of unwavering hope and resilience that echoes across every field, every home, and every heart. This land has seen the rise and fall of civilizations, but the spirit of its people is unbreakable. They are not just fighting for their land, they are fighting for the very essence of what it means to be human: freedom, dignity, and justice. Today, in the West Bank, Gaza, and the refugee camps, Palestinians are not just surviving, they are resisting. Every day is a battle against checkpoints that divide families, against demolition that raises homes, and against the relentless expansion of settlements that steal their land. Even in the face of these unthinkable conditions, Palestinians find a way to rise. They know that their struggle is not just for survival, it is for the soul of their homeland, for a future they have yet to see, but will never stop fighting for.
Gaza is a small area, but it's home to over 2 million people who face many challenges during their life. Life there is tough because many people can't get basic things like clean water, enough medicine, or the freedom to move around easily. People there are living a sad life there, especially families and young children. But what stands out about Gaza is the strength and spirit of its people. Even though they face a lot of challenges during their life, they stay hopeful by keeping their culture alive and building strong communities. When we support Gaza, we're supporting the right to live in peace and fairness. We're saying that every person deserves safety, happiness, and freedom.
Nevertheless, they're standing like nothing happened to them, which leads to ask what they're really standing for. The adversity that they're facing, which no one would endure, is totally beyond a human capacity. I know it's a real difficult time for them, but they gotta know the struggle, the sacrifice that they're giving won't go for nothing. Victory is coming, no doubt about that. And for those who sold them out, this war exposed them all. I really hate to say this, but they provided nothing but betrayal. What else should it take to wake up their oblivious hearts? How many children must be killed to comprehend that what happened in there isn't a war? It's a total genocide committed by Israel. Resistance will last. It's already cultivated in our hearts and it won't be erased till they be.
The ongoing conflict in Gaza is not just a matter of strategic dispute. It is a human rights crisis marked by the suffering of innocent civilians. One nation that has constantly stood with Gaza is Yemen. Despite its ongoing conflict, Yemen has always shown support towards the Palestinian people, standing firm in their commitment to Gaza's case. We must all raise our voices, advocate for an end, and call for the rights of Palestinians to be upheld and recognized. And just as Yemen stood with Gaza, it's any other country's duty to stand and fight for dignity, justice, and peace.
Imagine waking up every day not knowing what will happen. Imagine a place where every step could be your last, where the world around you is uncertain and the future feels out of reach. Yet, you continue to live, to dream, to build. This is Gaza. In all of these hardships, there is something powerful that keeps them going. It's not just about their strength or their willpower, it's about the protection of Allah. When the world forgets them, when it seems like they are alone, they are never totally alone. Their faith in Allah is their shield, their hope, and their refuge. And this is what makes them unbreakable.
What's happening in Gaza is completely unfair. Imagine a playground. There are two groups of kids. Let's call them the blues and the red. They have been arguing for a long time, and sometimes things get out of hand. The blues didn't have a place, so they occupied a huge portion of the red area. The blues have more supporters and more resources, while the reds feel trapped and forgotten. This is a simple way to understand what's happening in Gaza. The blues are the devils, the Israelis, and the reds are the oppressed people, the Palestinians.
Can you imagine someone breaking into your house and telling you, get out, that's my house? And when you try to defend yourself, you see the whole world stand against you. Well, actually, this is just a little story to give you an example of what's happening in Palestine right now. Unhuman acts that are committed by the occupation in Palestine, insulting women, destroying houses, and ending children's lives. Of course, also there's no water, no food, no medicine. Of course, no one can live under these circumstances. Yet people in Palestine and Palestinians still survive. Since Arab leaders are doing a great job, which is watching, the only things left we can still do are praying for people in Palestine and Gaza and boycotting companies that support the Israeli occupation.
Gaza is a Palestinian city containing people who have remarkable patience and strong faith in God. The war in Gaza made these people lose their families, their homes, and everything they owned, and there was no shelter to return to. Despite all of that, they were distinguished by their patience in the face of harm. They tried to seek help from Muslim brothers in all Arab countries because they suffer from the lack of food, drink, and important health supplies to keep them alive. But there is no benefit from many Arab countries and Muslims. They live in wealth and security, and their brothers in Gaza suffer from many bad things, and they don't do anything for them. This is an act that God will hold them accountable for because they have the ability to do many things, but they prefer to remain silent and watch because of their fear of Israel.
In the repeated conflicts in Gaza, the region suffers from painful massacres that claim the lives of many innocent civilians and destroy homes and vital facilities. In this context, Hamas emerges as a Palestinian resistance through the Azz-ad-Din al-Qassam Brigade, the military wing of the movement. Hamas used its limited resistance to confront a superior military, launching rockets and developing defensive strategies to protect the people and recover the land, making it a symbol of resistance against the occupation.
Gaza has a rich history. It has been home for many cultures for thousands of years. The ancient ruins shows its importance in trade and history. Today, people in Gaza are proud of their heritage. Gaza is a place with rich history and culture, but it faces many struggles.
Aboud had the biggest house in that city. It was big, the furnishing was beautiful, it had a lot of rooms, the yard was broad, in the yard there were olive trees. Abbud was so generous that if anyone wanted to visit his house, he will come to them. So one day, two people came to his house. They wanted to sit in his house for 2 days. Abbud was fine with that. They sat in his house for 2 days, but after that, they invited all their family. And they sat in Abbud's house for 1 month. Eventually, they asked Abbud to go out from his house, as they claimed it was theirs. Although Abbud was generous, but he wouldn't give up his house, so he tried to defend it. But they killed some of his family members. The people in that city know the house was Abbud's house, and they were silent because they were scared and they didn't want to die. Abbud is Palestine. The people who tried to take the house from Abbud are Israel, and the silent, scared people are Arab countries. Today, we are very sad because of the tragedy that's happening in Gaza. Many people are hurt and many families are suffering. This is a very hard time for everyone in Gaza. Sometimes we find ourselves unable to express how we feel, what seems heavy, and we worry that what we say will not be enough to help. But it's important to try, even when words are difficult.
Gaza is now in a state of genocide. Unfortunately, most Arab countries didn't stand with it. What are they waiting for? Were you not moved by their cries? When you defend Gaza, in fact, you are defending Islam, because in the afterlife, you will be asked what you did for your Muslim brothers and what will your response be.
While the Palestinian people were suffering from the occupation for more than 75 years, a group of heroic resistance fighters decided to launch Operation Al-Aqsa Flood on 7th of October 2023, which was able to bring the Palestinian cause back to the forefront, block the path of normalization of relations with the Zionist entity, and prove to the world that the entity is weaker than a spider web and doesn't have the invincible army. Since that day, the Zionist entity has committed crimes of genocide against the Palestinian people, resulting in the martyrdom of more than 34,000 civilians, most of whom are women and children. The entity did not stop there, but also launched an aggression against Lebanon and is trying to make it a second Gaza. As usual, the majority of Arab and Islamic countries have let down the Palestinian and Lebanese people. However, Yemen, since the first day, has supported the Palestinian and Lebanese people and also used the weapon of boycotting goods of companies and countries that support the Zionist entity. This unique and advanced position has led to many repercussions on Yemen, including the American and British aggression that has been launched against it since January 2024, which was able to bring the Yemeni people and international organizations to reduce their humanitarian aid to Yemen. However, all these bridges have not and will not stop Yemen from doing its duty towards our brothers in Lebanon and Palestine until the promised victory is achieved, God willing.
What's happening now in Gaza? This is not a horror movie, this is not a test, this is the reality of Gaza. Water, food, medicine, electricity have been cut off in 2 million people in Gaza, including children.
Houses, schools, universities, and the places of worship have been destroyed by the occupation. How can Palestinians be the oppressors when they have zero military strength compared to Israel? This is a massacre, not a conflict. Open your eyes to see the truth and free Palestine.
But Gaza, with its men, women, and children, has become an advocacy epic in which the images of Islam are painted. The mother loses her children, and the wife loses her husband, and the man loses his family, and they don't show any sign of resentment but submission to Allah. The family loses its home, and they sit simply next to the wreckage and give the ideal model for survival and determination to challenge and endure.
This makes Gaza one of the most crowded cities in the world. Life in Gaza is very difficult because of the blockade that has lasted over 15 years. This blockade limits access to many basic things like electricity, clean water, and medicine. Many people, especially children, dream of a better life with more freedom and opportunities to grow. Despite all these challenges, Gaza has a rich and unique culture. People there love traditional music and celebrate their customs. There are many talented artists, musicians, and athletes in Gaza. Even though they face many problems, they work hard to achieve their dreams and make their voices heard.
Can you imagine someone breaking into your house and tell you, get out, this is my house. And when you try to defend yourself, the whole world stands against you. Well, actually this is just a real story to give you an example of what's happening in Palestine right now. Try for once to say the truth with your eyes and heart. If you cannot live the injustice, at least tell everyone about it. Palestine will remain Palestine. Palestine is free.
An 8-year-old child who lost his mother got used to sleeping next to his mother's graves to feel safe. He always goes to visit her even at night. His father asked him, don't you feel scared of dogs? His sons replied, no, my mother protects me. The ongoing conflict has devastated the civilian population of Gaza. Most of them has been displaced multiple times, and the entire population is in need for humanitarian assistance. It is vital that the war be stopped immediately in Gaza to save what is remaining of life there. From a humanitarian perspective, a ceasefire is the only way to protect Palestinians' lives and to safely scale up humanitarian assistance and surprise delivery. Surround Gaza by your prayers and supported by boycotting the products that support the occupied areas.
In time of war in Gaza, women play a very important role, often showing great strength or courage to support their families and communities. They provide guidance and emotional support for children and family members. Overall, women in Gaza face many difficulties during the war, but they still continue to be pillars for their families, supporting their loved ones and helping their community to stay united even in very hard times.
Many homes, schools, and hospitals have been damaged or destroyed, leaving people without safe places to live or receive care. Despite this, the people of Gaza continue to show strength, hoping for peace and a chance to rebuild their lives.
Today, I feel compelled to address the heartbreaking situation in Gaza. The destruction and random bombings have caused a huge suffering for the people who live in there.
It was the cradle of religions, and to it, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was taken on the night journey. The most recent thing that set Palestine apart was the Zionist occupation, which inflicted the harshest forms of suffering upon it. As a result, it endured hardships.
Nearly 2 million people have been displaced after Israel declared war on Hamas group on October 7, 2023.
They are individuals, each with their own dreams, their own families, and their own hopes. They are not forgotten. Their lives matter. They fight for freedom, for dignity, and for the right to live in peace. It is impossible to turn away. It wasn't just a story we read in the news. It was a call to all of us, a call to stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. We must step up. We must keep their voice alive, share their pain, and honor their lives. Because when we stand for Gaza, we stand for all of us. We stand for humanity. In the end, the fire of evils will be put out with the rain of resistance, and darkness cannot overcome light. So don't stop.
A whole year and more of siege, killing, starvation, and suffering has passed for our people in Gaza. Why? Why do they have to go through all of this? How can we help? Boycott products that support Israel. Second, be a messenger and let the world know what's happening in Gaza. Last but not least, pray for them.
I'm not gonna mention how many people are killed or how many buildings are destroyed. What I'm gonna say is that Gaza is not just a weak place. It's a story of strength, courage, and hope. People in Gaza are not only struggling to survive, they are fighting for their freedom, their cause, and their peace. Not only does Gaza need our prayers, but it also needs our help. Hardly can anyone ignore the truth. They need us to raise our voices. We must speak for their rights and share their story with the world. Donations, no matter how small, can provide medicine, shelter to those in need. If everyone contributes, together we can make a difference. If we truly care, we must act now. Never should we forget that our actions today can change their tomorrow. People in Gaza dream of living with dignity, safety, and opportunity just like us. So let us stand with them, support them, and give them a brighter future. Not only because we are Muslims, but also because we are human.
Gaza is one of the oldest cities in the world, with a history that goes back more than 4,000 years. The number of martyrs, including men, women, and children, has reached 37,431. Since October 7th until today, and they continue to be killed every moment. However, in this war, we have witnessed the true meaning of courage and faith from the Palestinians. We must support and help them.
Gaza's days is being bombed by the Jews, but the people of Gaza are steadfast. They are strong because they defend their country with their lives. There are those who stand by the people of Gaza and support them, and they are Arabs. We are trying to liberate Palestine from Israel with all our might. We always pray for them. We will try again and again until Al-Quds is liberated from the hands of the Jews.
October 7th, the people of Gaza have breached the wall between them and Israel. Soon information appeared in social media that the wall had been breached. We wondered how it was possible that the people of Gaza broken out their prison.
And it is much more than just a city. It stands as a symbol of strength and courage for Palestinian people. The people here never lose hope. If you walk through Gaza streets, you will see students working hard to keep learning, parents doing everything they can to build a better future for their children, and neighborhoods full of life and determination. Gaza is more than just a place. It is the heart of Palestine.
We all hope for a solution that will improve life there, despite the challenges. People in Gaza still hold into hope for a better future.
Can you imagine someone breaking into your house and telling you to get out? And when you try to defend yourself, the whole world stands against you? Well, actually, this is just a small story to give you an example of what's happening in Palestine right now.
The question, what should we do to help them? We should support them with money, with guns, medicine, and food, and pray. Anything. In conclusion, we must put an end to this terrible situation.
You give me money, you think I'm gonna bow? I can't believe what I see. Nothing left, just the people now drink from the sea. Water is just not around. I help you, you help me. This is how life goes on. Pull me up if I'm gonna fall, and don't let me fall down. One day you're gonna fall, and I won't watch you falling like a clown. Let's stop for a while, let's think for a while. We can make it by using mind and heart. Let's stop the fight, let's stop the war.
Gaza, this great name, doesn't know the freedom, but it's the name of the revolution. It's suffering from dirty water and homelessness. Its people do not take the food they need. Many stories of lost children in this war. Their cries overnight have written long stories of suffering. If you are a human, you will feel what they are going through. Parents carry their children in bags. There are no shrouds to cover the dead. Keep eyes on Gaza.
In an operation called Al-Aqsa Flood, this operation led to great success and caused significant confusion among the enemy. Israel started attacking citizens in very cruel ways and showed no mercy. As citizens, we may not be able to fight with them, but we must support them on social media, spread the news, and also boycott the product from the Israeli occupation. And we must be ready to help our brothers in Gaza at any time, even if we are called to jihad in the way of God. And we shouldn't say that the reason is Hamas, because this is their land and they have to save it. Free Palestine!
Despite all this, they decided to fight the Israeli occupier with their modest abilities. Sadly, a year and a month have passed since the battle began. The Palestinians have sacrificed more than 40,000 martyrs, and the number is increasing. More than 100,000 have been wounded. Regardless of all this destruction and the endless killing, most of the Arab rulers, if not all, are still silent. All they can do is nothing. Certainly, a day will come and Palestine will be liberated from the Zionists sooner or later. A day will come when Palestine will be free from the river to the sea.
The world must know. Together we'll make freedom grow.